everybody, welcome to Crosstalk Solutions. My name's Chris, and today we're going to be setting up a wireless bridge using the Ubiquiti NanoStation M5. Now, I've done setups in the past using the loco version, the smaller end version of the NanoStation, but this is the Big Daddy NanoStation. This is the M5. This is the top of the line wireless bridge in the NanoStation line. And so I figured we'd take a look at it and get it set up and show you just how easy it is to create a wireless bridge and extend your network to remote locations up to 15 kilometers away. So that's one of the first features of this thing, is that it can span, it says actually 15 plus kilometers away. So I imagine it can actually go a little bit further than that. I'm sure it depends on conditions and how nice the line of sight is and things of that nature. But yeah, this is a 5 gigahertz, it operates on the 5 gigahertz wireless spectrum, and you need a pair of these at least. So that means that this can operate point to point if you have 2 of them. That's how I'm going to set it up today. This can also, though, do point to multi-point. So if you have a bunch of these, or if you have kind of a row of line of sight with a few of these, you can pick up the signal from multiple different stations on the other end. So you can send a signal out and then pick it up from 3 or 4, however many other nanostations you want, as long as they're within the radius of the wireless that's being broadcast by the main device. Now, the other thing that it can be is a wireless repeater, and I've actually never set it up as a wireless repeater, so I might try to do that as well. But what would you potentially use a wireless bridge for? So first and foremost, it's basically just made for extending your network to places where it's not feasible to run a wire. So I have a customer, for instance, that has 2 buildings that are right next to each other. They've got windows in the building, and they've got an alley, a paved alleyway between the buildings. So in order to run a cable between those 2 buildings, they'd have to like trench up the alleyway, run the cable, and then, you know, repave it. And that just doesn't make sense when, you know, you can buy just, you know, a couple of these devices and get 300 megabits across that connection. I mean, literally 30 feet apart, with these devices pointing right at each other, it's going to be a 99 or 100% signal strength, and you'll get over 300 megabits. Another use might be for if you're in a rural area and maybe you've got a big property and you know, say you've got your main house where you have an internet connection and you've got a barn that's, you know, a kilometer down the way across an open field. Well, you could use one of these to shoot the internet out to that barn, or out to a more, you know, remote location, something that is further than a Cat5 cable would be able to stretch. Okay, with that being said, let's take a look at this device. It's pretty straightforward. I've already unboxed it, but what you get are some status indicators, some LED status indicators in the back. This is for power, and then you've got Ethernet 1, Ethernet 2, and then 4 LEDs for the signal strength. If you open up the bottom, you have 3 ports. You've got a main Ethernet port right here, then you've got a secondary Ethernet port right there, and then over here you've got the little reset switch, the famous paperclip reset switch. And that's about it. That's all there is to it. If you are going to use the secondary port, you have to pop out the little placeholder cover here. And I've already got my second one set up outside, so let's take a look at how I'm going to be setting this up. Okay, so here we have a really quick diagram. We can see I've got the internet connected to my router, and my router is at 192.168.1.1. This first NanoStation is going to be the main one, or the bridge, and then the secondary one is going to be the station. So I'm going to set the bridge up as 192.168.1.10. By default, the IP address of these devices is 192.168.1.20. So basically I just need to power it up, log into 1.20, change the IP address, and then we're good to go. Now the secondary one is at, I'm going to set to 192.168.1.11. So basically I want to get in here, and you have to set up both of the nanostations on the same LAN initially. Once they're both set up on the same LAN, you can then disconnect the remote NanoStation and then go put it wherever you need to put it and link them up over the wireless. So once the second one is plugged in, It's got two Ethernet ports. So one of the Ethernet ports I can just pull out to a switch, or I can pull directly to a computer or something like that on the other side. Basically an extension of the LAN. And then the secondary Ethernet port actually provides 24-volt passive PoE. So you can power some devices like a camera, for instance, or an access point if you wanted to create a separate wireless access point on the other side. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to plug this first one in with power over Ethernet. And while that's firing up, so I've got it plugged in, you can see the lights are starting to turn on here. And while I'm firing that up, I am going to put on the Ubiquiti window mount. And I'll kind of show you how to do this. So by default, when you get these NanoStations, they only have the ability to pole mount. So it comes with this little sort of pole-shaped, looks like about a maybe 1.5-inch diameter, 2-inch diameter pole shape that you can attach to a pole, and then has some tie straps. But when I'm setting these up, I typically get the window/wall mount kit, which comes with a window mount if you want to suction it to a window, or a wall mount if you want to suction it to a wall. And then you basically just attach this extra thing here that actually fits onto the NanoStation. So let me show you how that works. Basically, this is a grooved little indention here, and it fits right around that little pole-shaped thing on the back, just like this. So you can see that. And then it has a cap that goes on top and locks it all in, and then there's a screw that you need to screw in. Okay, there we go. So that's all screwed in nice and tight. And now when you're mounting it on a window, if you're mounting it on a wall, it's going to kind of go like this, where it's pointed out the back. If you're mounting it on a window, you need to point it like this so that the window mount is actually in the front, because I'm assuming you're going on the inside of the window. And so basically that just slips on like that. One thing that you do have to do is change this bottom screw so that it's actually on the bottom as opposed to on the top. So by default it comes up here, but if you leave it where it comes and you're putting this on the front for window mounting, there's not enough clearance with this little thumb screw thing here. So you got to actually take that out completely, put it on the bottom. But now that it's on here, we've got full motion left and right, and we've also got full motion up and down. So we can sort of arrange this however we want in our window. In my case, I'm just going to be pointing it straight out the window because the secondary NanoStation is just about 30 feet out my window attached to a tree. And I've got connections coming in from that one. I've got both of the primary and the secondary Ethernet port already wired right next to me here so that I don't have to keep going outside to make changes. So let's hook this up to the window and then get in and start configuring it. Okay, so that's in the window. I'm now going to pull up 192.168.1.20 in my browser. And of course it's going to give me some crap about not being a private connection, but that's okay. You can just get past that. And here we have the default screen. So we have username and password by default is UBNT, and the password UBNT. My country is United States, and then I'm going to check the box to agree to the terms and click Login. Okay, so here we go. The first thing that I'm going to want to do, since I don't want to use the default IP address, is I'm going to go ahead and switch the static IP address to 192.168.1.10 as per my drawing. So to do that, click on the Network tab. And then it's already set to a static IP of 1.20, so I'm just going to change this to 1.10 and click Change. And then apply those changes. Okay, so I've now been redirected to 1.10, and so I'm going to log in again. UBNT and UBNT, go ahead and click Login. And there we go. Okay, so normally if I was setting this up for a customer, I would run what's called AirView. And AirView is an application that comes with the NanoStation, and it basically creates a waterfall graph of the network interference that is being picked up by the NanoStation. Now, this is nice so that you can actually see how much traffic is in your area, and it's really a good idea to manually set the channel of the NanoStation to a channel that's the least utilized channel in the area. In my case, I really don't have anything in the 5 gigahertz spectrum, so I'm not going to worry about running AirView. But if you're interested in seeing how to run AirView and how to interpret the results, I'll put a link to a video in the upper corner here for when I configured the NanoStation Loco M2, in which I did a pretty in-depth coverage of AirView and how to use it and how to interpret those results. So go check out that video if you're interested in AirView. In the meantime, I'm going to skip that for this video and go straight into the wireless setup. Okay, so let's click on wireless. And actually, first, before I even get into wireless, I think what I should probably do is update the firmware. So let me go back to network. I'm going to put in the DNS settings manually. I'm going to give it 4.2.2.2 and 8.8.8.8, and then we're going to change that and apply it. And once I've done that, it will be able to now connect out to Ubiquiti and tell me that I don't have the latest firmware. So to set the latest firmware, we're going to click on the System tab. And right here where it says firmware version XW5.5.9, let's go ahead and click Check Now. It should pop up by default. Probably if I rebooted it, it would have done so, but you'll get a little pop-up like this one that just came up here. So it says firmware update version 5.6.2 is available. Go to Ubiquiti Networks downloads page. So we want XW version 5.6.2. So let's go ahead and click download. And that's it. It's downloading and updating the firmware. Okay, so we're going to agree to the license agreement for the new firmware. And we're going to click the update version to update to the latest version 5.6.2. One thing to note about the firmware is you want to update the firmware on both of your devices, both sides of the wireless bridge. I had a situation recently where a customer of mine had updated the firmware on one side but not on the other, and the wireless bridge wouldn't connect at all. So you have to update, or at least make sure that both sides are on the same exact version of firmware. Okay, so firmware is updated. Let's log back in with UBNT and UBNT. And there we go, firmware version XW 5.6.2. Now that we're in here, let's go ahead and change our administrator password as well, away from the default. So our current password is UBNT, and let's put in a new password here. And go ahead and apply that by hitting the change button. Okay, so we've logged in, we've changed the IP address, we've changed the administrator password, we've updated the firmware. The last step is to go ahead and create our wireless network. Okay, so to do that, we want to click on the wireless tab. And since this unit is going to be broadcasting the signal from our LAN, we want to set the wireless mode to access point. For transparent bridge mode, we want to enable that. Our SSID, according to our document here, we're going to set to crosstalk. Crosstalk. And then we want to set our security to WPA2 AES with a pre-shared key of, I'll click show here, crosstalk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything else you can leave default unless you want to actually change the channel that it's on, in which case you can do so right here by changing the frequency. In my case, I'm just going to leave it to auto since I really don't have anything else in the area that is using the 5 gigahertz spectrum. So go ahead and click change and apply. Okay, so we're done with the setup of our access point, and now we want to set up our station, which is the secondary nano station that's going to be receiving the signal from this access point. Okay, so notice that on the first access point, NanoStation number 1, we don't see any connections, there's no quality being shown, nothing is actually showing up here, which means that it's not connected to any other stations on the other side. So the first thing we want to do is power up our secondary NanoStation. Now I've got the two plugs, the primary and the secondary, labeled 1 and 2. So we want to plug into number 1, and I want to use the Power over Ethernet adapter. So we're going to say PoE and plug that into number 1. And then we want to then plug the LAN into the LAN. So I'm sure that's firing up outside. Let's just give it a second and then we'll log into the interface. Okay, so here we go. This is NanoStation number 2. If we look at our drawing here, now I am connected to the default IP address of the secondary NanoStation. And I'm going to first configure it to be 192.168.1.11. So log in with UBNT. Country is going to be USA, and check the box to agree to the terms and log in. Click on the network page. Static, we're going to say 1.11. And let's go ahead and give it the DNS right now so that when it comes back up, it will automatically pop the screen prompting us to update to the latest version of firmware. Change and apply. Log back in. And there we go. And of course now it automatically says that a firmware update is available. Let's go ahead and download it and install that firmware update, just like we did on the first one. Okay, so here we go. I've updated. Now we are on 5.6.2. I'm going to go ahead and update the password as well while I'm in here. And apply that. And now let's set up our bridge. So this is the station. We want to click on wireless. And we want to put this into station mode first, and then it should be able to actually detect the other side. Okay, so here we go. Wireless mode set to station. And then let's go ahead and click select right here. And it's doing a site survey, and it has found crosstalk. That's exactly what we want. It also picked up my internal access points, but we're just going to select crosstalk, and we want to click lock to access point. Now it's going to prompt us for the password, which was crosstalk12345. I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, 12345, and let's go ahead and click change and apply. Okay, so now if we click on the main tab of our station device, we can see our signal strength, which is minus 35 dBm. That's actually very good. And we can see our quality. So we've got 100% quality and 300 megabit per second up and down. If we look at the main tab on our access point, we can see very similar. We can see 100%, and we can see that we have one connection. Okay, so let's actually test this out. At this point, I'm going to disconnect the wireless, I'm going to disconnect the station, the remote side, from my LAN. So I am now disconnected. And so now what I'm going to do is plug my computer into the LAN port of the Power over Ethernet adapter. And that should connect my computer that I'm recording this video on to the LAN port of the NanoStation, which will then wirelessly transmit to this and then back into this switch. So let's do a quick test. We're going to run a command prompt, and I'm going to do from my computer ping-t 4.2.2.2 so we can see I have internet access. Now I'm going to disconnect my computer from the network. And there we go. We're getting request timed out. And now I'm going to plug my computer into the LAN port of the Power over Ethernet adapter for the remote side. And there we go. I have internet access. Let's go ahead and run a speed test and see how we're looking. Okay, so I'm going to click begin test. Here we go. My connection, by the way, is a 60 megabit per second Charter cable connection, and so it looks like I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting a little bit over 60 megabit download. I should get probably somewhere between 4 and 5 megabit upload. And there we go. That worked out really well. So the internet connection is solid, and like I said, my computer is connected to the LAN port of the remote side, which is wirelessly connected to the bridge side or the access point side of the wireless bridge. which is then connected to my network, which is connected to the internet. So everything is working perfectly. The last thing that I wanted to test was the pass-through port on the remote station. So if I wanted to, for instance, set up an access point, let me grab an access point. So here we have a Ubiquiti APAC Lite. This is a dual band access point. It runs over 24 volt passive PoE. And I'm gonna see if I can get this device to actually power up this access point with just the single 24 volt passive PoE that I have running into it. I might also have to have a higher PoE going into the remote station to do this, but we will see here. Okay, so right here, if you click on Advanced, you see PoE pass-through, and if I hover over the little question mark here, it says, when enabled, this device allows power over Ethernet to pass from the main port to the secondary port, thereby powering an additional device, such as a compatible IP camera. So let's go ahead and turn that on, enable, and hit change, and apply. Okay, so now I've got this secondary port. This is wired to the secondary Ethernet, or the PoE pass-through port of the remote NanoStation located about 30 feet outside my window here. So I need a network cable. This will do. And we're going to plug it in and see if we get power on our access point. And there we go. You can see that the access point is lighting up. So it's definitely getting power, and in just a second it should turn green. I'm sorry, blue. It doesn't turn green anymore, they turn blue. So there we go. So now I've got an access point. This is running from my hand out to the remote NanoStation, which is a wireless bridge over to this NanoStation, which is then connected to the internet. So that works really well. I believe you can also set up the remote NanoStation as just an access point, or a repeater, I should say. So I'm going to fool around with that a little bit. Maybe I'll do another video on how to set it up in repeater mode. But if you want a strong, secure wireless bridge, and then you want to put out an access point from that wireless bridge, it certainly seems to work really well. And again, all I have powering this stuff is one PoE adapter that's located right here in my room. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. My name's Chris with Crosstalk Solutions. If you did enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please click subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.